Alright guys, so today we're back at it again with the Mustang. So, as you can see, we're in here replacing the rotors and pads for the 08 GT Mustang. Now with this, it comes in handy if you have the brake tool, not the brake pads, obviously you need those too, but the brake tool, which has all the discs. You can actually grab one of these at like Harbor Freight. I think I got this for like 30 bucks. So definitely worth it, considering I have the Jenny, the SVX, and then the truck over there. So it definitely comes in handy for that aspect. If you only have one car or you don't really mess with the brakes like that, you could probably use a C-clamp, or if you're gentle enough, you could use pliers. I know a lot of people don't like when I say use pliers, but you can use pliers if you're gentle enough. You won't mess up the pistons inside the caliper. Let's go ahead and get down into it. So obviously I'm pretty far in, but I figured I should make a video just in case anybody wanted to touch base on how to replace rotors. First, obviously you're gonna need to take the wheel off, which is, if it's OEM, it should be a 19 mil socket or a 21, depending on what you guys went with. These are 19s from American Muscle. They were painted black, but obviously black doesn't really hold up too well to being hit against with sockets. If you have aftermarket wheels, I highly suggest you run hub-centric rings. Hub-centric rings basically sit on the hub and adapt the hub board to an aftermarket wheel size, like that's on this Mustang. A lot of people don't run them, and then there's a gap between the hub and the wheel, and at that point the lug studs themselves are taking most of the weight, when if you just have the ring on, the ring will actually adapt it so it meshes correctly. So if you don't, I highly suggest getting a hub ring, normal size. So this one's a 72.6 to 70.5. Obviously wheels change and the different hub bores, so on and so forth, but usually 72 is usually pretty standard number with aftermarket wheels. I even think the Jenny over here is on 72s or 72.1, I believe. Don't quote me on that though. It's been a while since I've actually messed with this, because she's still down for a little bit because she needs another motor. That's my fault. I beaten it a little too hard. But let's get back into this. So for this, you are going to need, like I said, 19mm socket, a jack, preferably jack stands. Don't be like me, it is dangerous, and if the jack falls, you will probably get severely hurt, or worse, die. I know you don't want to hear that, but it happens. So moving on in, so caliper, try not to let the caliper hang, because it causes extreme stress on the actual soft line itself going into the body brace, or let's just call it the body, and then to the hard line. So try to support it best you can. Try not to let the caliper dangle and cause stress on the soft line. You're going to need to pull the caliper off, obviously. Pulling the caliper off, I'm using a 12 mil socket for the caliper bolts here and here. They come off fairly easy. I will list torque specs down in the description below, so keep up with that. For the actual caliper bracket, you're going to need a 15 mil. Will pop these two bolts off, this one and the lower one. Right now it's still in hand tight, as you can see. So the bracket's still loose. I didn't even put it together yet. I figured I should probably make a video explaining this. The old rotor, I just gave it a little karate chop and it popped right off. Sometimes they will try to rust to the hub itself. Just try to smack it a few times around the area if it is stuck with maybe like a rubber mallet or something, or if you want to get crazy with it, a 4-pound hammer. Try not to hit the edge, because you could, if it doesn't want to release and you damage the rotor and you have to put it back together, it's probably going to be an uncomfortable ride. Or worst case scenario, I mean worst case scenario, you could probably damage or crack the old rotor, but you'd have to have some pretty beat down rotors for that to happen. Moving on, parts list. So we went with the R1 Concepts ceramic pads. Here's the part number from R1 Concepts. This is for, it should be good for 05 to 09 Mustangs. 05 to 09 Mustangs should all be the same. The part number is going to be 1310-146-300. And that's going to be from R1. Like I said, I'll give them a little link down in the description as well. As you can see, we were running the old ones before. This is about 2 years in. She started getting a little brake happy, slamming on the brakes a couple times. Ended up getting too hot and warping out, so swapping them out for some new ones. They are labeled, by the way, labeled. So these are fronts, and the fronts are listed as front right, front left. So people that put their brakes backwards with these flow forward, so they spin like this. They don't go the other way and they spin like that. This is how they're supposed to be on the car, like this. So that's front right, not front left. It kind of gets annoying when I see people put them in reverse order, but to each their own. This is going to be the part number for the front right, or passenger front I should say, 631-54057, and then R indicates location. Obviously fronts and rears are way different in size. The fronts are obviously bigger. And then driver front is going to be 631-54057, and then like I said, L indicates driver left or front left. Alright, so that's going to be it for that. Head on back over. So when you're putting these on, you can opt in for the new hardware. I didn't go with the new hardware this time because I literally just put these on 2 years ago. I should have just got them, but I didn't even think about it. So these still look good. I'll hit them with some brake grease so the pads can run smooth. Same thing with the pins. Go ahead and throw some lube in there, just a little bit. Try not to get, remember, don't get lube on this rotor. You can throw some Loctite on this if you want. That's for the caliper mounting bolts. I wouldn't, it doesn't really matter to me. If they're torqued to spec, you're good. If you want, go to Ford, grab some OE bolts. We have all new hardware. Same with bracket bolts. These have been reused. These were on here last time and the time before that. So this is the third round with these. If they're torque to yield bolts, they're holding good. Next time around, it will be new bracket bolts and caliper bolts. And watch out for these slides right here. When you put the caliper on, it has to be in line with this. As you can see, there's a groove on the caliper itself, so make sure it lines up with this, so that way it's not half moon on a flat surface. Make sure it's flat to flat on both top and bottom, so it can actually depress and not be all wonked out. But yeah, so with the caliper tool, let me see if I can show you guys. It actually helps because you can use the caliper tool to recess the piston in. And like I have this right now, I have it just holding it in place. Sometimes it like to creep back out on you when you're not paying attention. So especially with this dual setup, sometimes you'll press one in, the other one will pop out, or vice versa. You'll press that one in and that one will pop out. These ones are cooperating pretty good, thankfully. Sometimes it doesn't work out all that great and you have to fight with it. So I just have it hanging up there on the lower control arm, just chilling, hanging out. But yeah, so if you get the toolkit here from Harbor Freight, this is what it's going to be called, Maddox. It's a brake pad and caliper service toolkit. Super cool stuff. Pretty simple. I'm using the number 3 disc, and then all the rest of it, obviously you need like the backing space pad, and it threads through and everything. It works really good. So if you do brakes a lot on multiple cars, or you know, maybe you just do brakes on your car every once in a while and you're kind of getting the shits of you know, messing with calipers and throwing the pistons back in, definitely grab the tool. It's worth the money. Especially if you have like the reverse slide style or the screw-in type, that works for it too. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, you guys. Like I said, I'll throw the torque specs down in the description below, along with the link for the rotors and pads from R1. I have R1 on the Jenny, the Subaru, and the Mustang. So hopefully you guys stay tuned. If you want to see more videos, let me know in the comment section, or if you have any questions on the brakes, go ahead and leave some more comments. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel for more videos on the Mustang, the Jenny, the Subaru, or the truck. But besides that, thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helps. Peace.